Hi everyone, welcome to our Monday live stream. It's great to see you guys in the chat already this morning. And today we're going to talk about fall gardening. I know it's crazy to think about fall because it's still, I know for a lot of you guys, really, really hot. So hopefully the weather will be cooling down soon, although I know we don't really want it to cool down too soon because a lot of you then will be hitting winter time. But today we're going to talk about when do you start your fall garden and even talk about what is a fall garden, because I just realized that a lot of people might not even really know what a fall garden is. So I thought I would share that with you today. And for those of you that are seasoned gardeners, please jump in and share along with me here. And today we have Camera Guy in the chat moderating. He is under the CaliKim Garden and Home avatar there, our moderator. Everything sunflowers and more was not able to be here today. So Camera Guy's here, so show him some love in the chat there, guys. And it's great to be with you here. So let me just see who is here today. We have Sylvia from Arizona. West Coast Gardeners here, great, from the west coast of Canada. We have Sergio from New Mexico, West Michigan Gardening Guy, how are you? Lynn Myers from Redland, Oregon. And from Germany, we have Ollie Entropy, and I know we also have Healing Berry Garden from Germany. So people here from all over the world. It always floors me to see people here from all over. It's just crazy how many lives gardening touches. So thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here today. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little bit about fall gardening and then jump back into the chat for some questions. And we're also gonna talk a little bit about the video we did over the weekend on Saturday about planting 6 vegetables that you can plant right now. And I wanna hear from you guys how planting is going for you in your garden as well. So first off, let's talk a little bit about cool weather vegetables or fall gardening. So when we talk about fall gardening, basically what that means is you're planting cool weather vegetables. So for those of you that are brand new gardeners, remember there's no dumb questions here. So basically, so if you have a question, go ahead and ask it in the chat. Basically, there's 2 different types of vegetables. We have a warm weather vegetable, which we're growing in the summertime here. Warm weather vegetables do really well in temperatures of around 50 degrees to up to about 90 degrees. So those are vegetables like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, what else is just escaping my mind here? The basic warm weather vegetables, eggplant, things like that, that do really well in the summertime. Now, cool weather vegetables are a little bit different. They do best in temperatures of 75 degrees Fahrenheit or below. So they do well in the cooler months of the fall. Sometimes in warmer climates like California, you can even grow them in the wintertime. Those are vegetables like radishes, like cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. All those vegetables thrive in the cooler weather. Now, the great thing about those types of vegetables, the cool weather vegetables, is that a lot of them are even frost tolerant. So a lot of times if you get them established and growing before you get a frost, sometimes they will survive during the lighter frosts of the winter. Some of them will even take a little bit harder of a frost. So that's basically what we mean when we talk about a fall garden, is you're growing cool weather vegetables. Now, a lot of you know I have a book coming out in December, Organic Gardening for Everyone, and there's a detailed section in there about the difference between cool weather vegetables and warm weather vegetables and how to work with the weather to make sure that you plant the right vegetables in the right season. So I know a lot of you have already pre-ordered my book. If you haven't yet, you can pre-order it over on my website, CaliKimGardeningHome.com. So I'm really excited about this, and you're going to want to have this as your manual out in the garden. So that's basically what we mean when we're talking about a fall garden. So I'm just trying to think here what else I want to say about that. I think that's probably about it. So our point 1 is what is a fall garden? And it's basically you're planting cool weather vegetables. So we'll get into in just a second when do you plant your fall garden. But before we do that, I want to take a look at the chat here and see what's rolling by and if we can answer any questions for people. Let's see here. got it. Okay, let's see, from Nevada. I'm looking for questions, and yeah, if you could definitely write question in front of your question, that way I can spot it real quickly. Okay, this is from, my screen is like all of a sudden went really dim, so I'm having a hard time seeing the names. Chumalicious or something like that, I think. I brought some strawberry plants from the Netherlands to Aruba. How can I make them work with the weather here? Okay, I know it is super warm in Aruba, probably for most of the year. And strawberries really like temperatures of 85 degrees Fahrenheit or under. They're a perennial, so they will even survive in freezing temperatures. So if you're getting super, super hot temps, they might not thrive there, but what you can definitely do to help them is cover them with shade cloth once the temperatures get above 85 degrees. And that will definitely help them stay a little bit cooler, but they aren't a super hot weather plant. So maybe plant them in a spot where they get morning sun, afternoon shade to help them stay a little bit cooler. And if you have a cooler season, you will definitely find that they will thrive a lot more in the cooler season. So if there is any more questions here, let's take some questions here about some cool weather versus warm weather veggies. Here's one from Nevher. Is there still time to grow broccoli or Brussels sprouts in zone 7B? Okay, I'm gonna get to those types of questions in just a moment when we talk about when should I plant my fall garden. Okay, here's a question from Mickey. Do cucumbers just stop producing after a while? Okay, they will eventually reach the end of their life cycle, pretty much like any plant does, and they will start to die off. I actually have a plant, excuse me, right behind me here, a cucumber plant that has really, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's really gotten battered by the heat lately. It's not looking all that great. So that's one reason why you want to get a new wave of vegetables started here in the later in the summer, like we talked about from the video over the weekend, because your plants are going to start to die off at the end of the summer, and you definitely want to have a new round of vegetables ready to take its place. So go back and watch that video and plant some of those really quick growing vegetables so that in about 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to have a new round of veggies. So always good to make sure you're always planting something so that you always have fresh veggies to pick from your garden. Because if you're like I do, you don't ever want to be without. Okay, another question here, and then we'll go back and talk about when to plant your fall garden. Okay, let's see here. Can I grow potatoes in the fall? And potatoes, regular like russet potatoes, are definitely more of a cool weather vegetable. The sweet potatoes are a warm weather vegetable, so those you would want to grow in the summer. But yes, fall is a great time to grow regular types of potatoes. So I don't think I have too many videos on that, so you might want to look up some videos on YouTube, but you can definitely grow them in a container. They're a perfect vegetable to grow even over the winter time because the soil protects them from getting frozen. So some of you potato growers out there, make some comments here and let this person know how they can grow potatoes, okay? Now let's get to the next point here is when to start your fall garden. I have had so many questions about this lately, and I actually started some seeds for mine just a couple of days ago, so I am really excited about that. It's still hot here, and in California, and if you live in a southern climate, you're gonna know this too, you don't really start cooling down in probably till in November, December. So really our prime cool weather season here is in the winter time. But basically what you want to do is take a look at when you are expecting your first frost. Now, if you're a brand new gardener, you might not have any idea because you haven't tracked that over the years. You might not have any idea of where to find that. There is a website, and I'm going to see if I can pop a link in the chat. Usually my moderator does this, but she's not here today. So I'll see if I can pop a link. There's a website called Farmer's Almanac that has all kinds of wonderful resources on it. And one of them is a frost date calculator where you can pop in your zip code and it will tell you when your first and last frost date is, which is extremely important information for a gardener to know. We need to know when our first frost date is so we can start, or our last frost date so we can start planting our spring vegetables. We need to know when our first frost date is so that if we have any warm weather vegetables in the garden, we can cover them up to make sure they don't get killed off by frost. And we need to, like, say, I'm going to give an example. Say your first frost date is November 1st. Okay, that's in about what? About September, October, November. That's in about 3 months or so. So that means that you would want to get your cool weather vegetables started right now, because you want to get them in the ground in about 6 weeks, and then you want to have some time for them to get established and get growing before the frost hits, because they are going to be, most of them will be frost tolerant and will survive a light frost. So for example, the seeds I started on Friday, I believe it was, in about 4 to 6 weeks, I can plant these in my garden. So if you're getting frost in October, November, definitely get your cool weather seeds started right now. And even if it's hot in your area, what you can do is just pop some in these little seed trays. You can pop some seeds in like the Jiffy peat pellets, and you can grow them indoors under grow lights, because it's probably too hot to grow them outside. If you're like me and today it's probably 95 out here, there is no way that these would even sprout and germinate outside in 90-degree temperature. So I would not want to plant these in my garden until the weather cools off. So I have these inside. Once they germinate, I'll be popping them under grow lights. I'll grow them indoors for about 6 weeks, and then once the weather cools off, I'm going to have little transplants to put into my garden. So it's going to save me some time. So that way I'm not starting with seeds outside in 6 weeks. I'm starting with transplants. That'll be about this size. Now this is a pumpkin, so obviously I wouldn't be planting this in the cool weather. This is a warm weather vegetable, but I'll have transplants to put into the garden instead of seeds. So, and you can, that way you can kind of gauge it according to your weather and get your cool weather vegetables outside once the temperature gets under 75 degrees and it's cool enough for those vegetables to thrive. So you definitely want to time it right. So go to that Farmer's Almanac webpage, look for your very first frost date, and then back up about 8 to 10 weeks from there and start your cool weather vegetables inside. Okay, guys, I really recommend that. Get them going inside. It gets them off to a fast start, and that way they're not getting damaged by the heat out in your garden. Now, like I said, our cool weather season is not really until November, but I wanted to get these started so I could show you guys exactly what to do. So we will be starting some fall garden videos probably in the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, go back from last year and check out our fall garden series on YouTube from last year and get them going. And let me see if I can grab that link here. That way you guys can get started right away and not have to be wondering, okay, how do I get my seeds started? What types of seeds should I start? Because that video will cover all that information. Okay, here we go. There we go. There's the fall garden series. And also, guys, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I do have a fall garden seed collection. I know a lot of you purchased this over the weekend. I'm running a sale right now on all of my seed collections and all of my Smart Pots containers. This is a great deal. It's 15 seed varieties, all cool weather vegetables, and it's 15% off. Just through the end of today, through midnight Pacific time, all the seed collections are 15% off. So grab yourself a fall garden seed collection. It has things like broccoli, cauliflower, different kinds of lettuces, which are a cool weather green. It has collards, carrots, radishes. There's kohlrabi. There's 15 varieties. So head to my website, CaliKimGardenandHome.com. Check it out, pick one up, and get your garden going there. So let me grab that link too, so you guys have that. And by the way, all these links will also be in the upload of this video. As soon as the live stream ends, the video uploads. So all the links that you need to get your supplies and like the frost date calculator, that will all be in the upload of the video. So always make sure you check the video description as well. So let's see here. You can also direct seed to make it a little bit easier for you guys. You can direct seed your cool weather vegetables if you want to get your transplants going. And then once the weather gets cool enough, you can also direct seed, which means plant the seeds directly in your garden beds so that you have seeds at various stages of growth. You have plants at various stages of growth. If you live in California or Texas or somewhere south, you can grow these things probably most of the winter. Okay, let's check out some questions here. All right, Nolan. Oh, this is a really great question. How long can I continue to grow peppers before the season is done? Okay, it really depends, Nolan, where you live. Here in California, if we have warm enough winters, sometimes I'll have peppers that will grow all winter long. So really just keep an eye on your plants. If the production slows down, that means they're probably coming to the end of the season. But the thing is with peppers is a lot of times they will overwinter. Even if you live in a cold area, you could dig up your plants or put them in a container. You can mulch them. You can cut them way back, mulch at the base a couple inches with like some straw or some leaves. And a lot of times they will come right back once the weather warms up. So give that a try, but definitely don't pull your pepper plants out. Sometimes even if you have a warm late spell, they'll start producing again. So they're one of those plants that have a very long growing season. Cucumbers do tend to die out a little bit quicker, but peppers can even put on a second or even a third crop. I have some pepper plants here that I've even had going on the third year. So it's pretty crazy with peppers, which is a lot of fun because you put a lot of work into those things, and the longer they last, the better. Okay, let's see here. My tomato, oh, hi Patty, how are you? My tomato is not flowering. Okay, Patty, sometimes what that can be is a couple different things. It can be not enough pollinators. It could also be that it's perhaps flowering, but the flowers are dropping because the weather is so hot. I actually have a tomato plant right now that isn't flowering a ton, and I've been adding some phosphorus. Actually, I have a fertilizer that's a little bit higher in phosphorus, which I've been adding to that to help encourage the bloom. So if you can find a fertilizer like that, I know the Good Dirt has, I think, a 4 in phosphorus, so I've been doing that. And also I've been going up to the plant once or twice a day and shaking the cage, because that moves the flowers around, and then they pollinate because they're a self-pollinating plant, and it helps the blossoms start forming and the fruit to start forming. So give that a try, and hopefully that'll help the flowers increase on your plant there. Okay, let's see here. What other questions do we have? Okay, how are your eggplant and watermelon doing so far? This is from Kirian. Are you ever going to do a seed collection with these in it? Okay, great suggestion. And my watermelon, I got in really late. I actually just picked up some transplants this year because I didn't get seed started in time. So I got some transplants at the garden center. And they're doing okay, but they've only been in the ground for about 4 weeks. And then we got a really hot spell as soon as I planted them. So I'm not sure if I'll get a harvest or not. It just depends how the weather goes. The eggplant are doing great too. Again, I got those in late as well. Things were kind of delayed a little bit this year because I was writing the book. So I got some plants in late. But yeah, I am totally open to doing a watermelon and eggplant seed collection next spring or next late in the fall, actually, when we launch new collection. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know and we can definitely add that in. Okay, is it too late from Tabitha to plant watermelon in zone 7A Oklahoma? Okay, I would say it might be a little late in zone 7A. Watermelon does need a really long growing season. Even the compact varieties like the sugar babies, which I actually have, usually need at least 60, sometimes 90 days, maybe somewhere in the middle there, maybe 75. So you might be pushing it a little bit with watermelon. So make sure you just get started a little bit earlier with that next year. Put that on your list for next year and you'll be doing great. Okay, let's see. Another question or two. And then I want to talk about if you guys are planting any of those crops we talked about from the video on Saturday. Okay, let's see. I can't get my lemon to grow. Nisha, oh, sorry. I can't get to grow my lemon. I just have small green growth. Okay, Nisha, my lemon is actually a little bit slow too. I got 1 lemon from it, and I do have some smaller ones coming on now. But I found that I have been fertilizing it about maybe every week to 10 days because it's in a container and I want to get more blossoms. So make sure you're really sticking up with that fertilizer, sticking consistent with that fertilizer, and then just be patient. I know it's hard to wait, but just be patient and hopefully you'll get some little flowers and little lemons soon. It's going to be super, super exciting when you do, for sure. And they're going to be so delicious. Okay, my first frost is December in zone 8. So are you saying I can plant indoors in September? From Rhonda. I haven't mentioned anything about planting indoors. Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about starting seeds. Okay. If your first frost is not till December, and you're talking about cool weather vegetables, I probably wouldn't start them yet. So say your first frost is December 1st. What I would do is back up the calendar about, I'd say about 10 weeks. So that's the time that you would start your seeds. So you're going to have to gauge what the temperatures are in your area. So that would be December, November, October, and then September. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just getting what you're saying in your question. So take a look at your temperatures in September. If your temperatures are going to be like 75 degrees or over, then yes, you would want to start your seeds indoors. If the temperatures are cooling off and it's 75 degrees or under, then you could start these right out on your deck or patio or out in your yard in seed cells. Or if you have room in your garden beds, you could put seeds in your garden beds. What I would do though, honestly, is start both. Start some seeds inside, get them off to a fast start, and also drop some seeds in your garden beds. That way you always have backups in case something happens. So hopefully that makes sense. But do go back, guys, and watch last year's fall garden series, because there's a lot more details than I have time for on the live stream today in those garden series, and it's going to clear up probably a lot of your questions too. Okay, let's see here. Organic gardening in North Carolina. Hi, how are you? Have you heard of trombone zucchini? We have borers here, and this zucchini is supposed to be very resistant to them because it grows on more like a cucumber vine. Okay, I have heard of that. If we're thinking the same thing, it's a really long type of squash. I've actually seen quite a few people on Instagram grow those. They actually look really, really neat. They're long, and I mean, they just grow absolutely mammoth. So I'm not sure if they have like a tougher type of skin that would maybe the borers couldn't chew through them, but that would be a really fun experiment. So please let us know how that goes for you. Okay, guys, I did want to talk a little bit about the video over the weekend, the 6 crops to plant in August. That video is absolutely going gangbusters, and you guys are really enjoying it. There's a lot of fun comments on what you're growing right now. And I would really like to hear from you if you had any questions on it, or I'd like to hear from you what you're planting. So we talked about 6 crops to plant in August. Cucumbers, beans, the little dwarf tomatoes that you can plant, the tiny Tim tomatoes, which a lot of you are growing these as well. And here I have mine right here, a new round I started in the CaliKim 5-gallon smart pots. So, and then we also talked about planting squash. What were the other ones? I should never try and remember a list of 6 things when I'm live. But anyway, the reason why we're planting these right now is because they grow so fast. You can get a harvest in about 6 to 8 weeks. So that way, when your summer crops are dying out, you're gonna have some vegetables to harvest. So if you missed that video, go back and watch it, because most people still have at least 6, hopefully 8 weeks before your frost date, so you can get some new vegetables planted in your garden. There's nothing like fresh new veggies. So let me hear what you're planting. I hear Randy here is planting beans and carrots. Perfect. Beans grow so fast. You can literally almost see them grow. It's really fun. Nisha, kale, spinach, and lettuce. Cassandra, marigolds. That is a beautiful flower. I actually just planted some marigold seeds myself. Let's see. Roshni, hi, here for the first time. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. This is a great community, and we all just support each other. And it's so fun to come back week after week and hear about each other's gardens. Okay, Ollie, question, is your book also helpful if I do not have a California climate? Yes, it is. It's not specific to California. It's anyone in the world could use my book. It basically will take you from how to plant a garden for anyone from seed to harvest. A lot of things I share in my videos, but a lot more in depth. So for example, how to get seeds started, what's the difference between cool weather and warm weather vegetables, how to prep your garden bed, what to amend your garden bed with, how to set up a raised bed, how to build a raised bed, how to set up containers. All the basics of gardening and more are going to be in my book. And there's over 250 color photographs taken by Camera Guy and our daughter Jules. So you can order this on my website. It's gonna make a great Christmas gift. It comes out in December. So, okay, let's go back here and see what you guys are planting. Luz is planting chard, beans, zucchini, clone green zebra tomatoes. That's great. Tiny Tims and lettuce. Wonderful. Kiranda, I'm starting cucumbers right now. Thanks to your advice. That's great. Harvest time is 55 days, so I should be okay here in southern Indiana. That's great. I love it. Don't stop planting. So 55 days is going to be perfect. You are going to love getting that harvest. After your summer cucumbers are already died out, oh, those cucumbers are gonna taste great. So yeah, guys, check out also the late summer garden seed collection for those 6 quick growing vegetables. And also I threw in that seed collection the zinnia, the Thumbelina zinnias, which are a smaller variety of zinnia. They bloom a lot quicker than the big large zinnias, and you don't ever want to forget about the pollinators. Try and always be planting flowers as well to bring pollinators into your garden. And I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice here. So don't forget about the sale today, 15% off over on my website. I'm actually going to cut the live stream a little bit short today because we were inundated with sales over the weekend. I have my assistant upstairs right now packing all your seed orders. So be patient. I usually ship my orders out within 24 hours, Monday through Friday, but we had so many orders this weekend. It might take me a little bit longer. So be patient, and hopefully most of you here in the US will be receiving your order by the end of the week, if not sooner. And by the way, everyone who orders one of my seed collections will receive a postcard of the cover of my book. So head over to CaliKimGardenHome.com, grab the late summer or the fall garden seed collection, get some seeds started today. Believe me, you're gonna be so happy that you did. Okay, I'm gonna take a couple more questions and then sign off. Andrea, can't wait for your book. Thank you so much. If it's anything like your playlist collections, it's going to be my #1 gardening resource. Wow, thank you so much. That's wonderful. I really happy that you said that. Really makes me feel good. Oli just pre-ordered your book. Wow, that's great, Oli. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know you're gonna love it. Okay, Roshni, can there be more videos on gardening and apartment balconies? That's a great suggestion. We actually have a full-on garden series on small space gardening. It's all about container gardening, and I definitely would like to do maybe another small space garden series in the spring. But if you haven't yet watched that, please go and do so. I think there's 12 or 13 videos. Shows you how to set up your containers, how to set up your space. We did it right here where I'm sitting right now. We're using Smart Pots, which are a fabric container. If you guys haven't ever tried those, they're really great to grow in. The fabric is breathable and porous. They're really inexpensive. They're easy to pop up. And these here I have over on my website as well if you want to pick one of the 5 gallons up, or you can pick them up at smartpots.com. So guys, one more question, then I'm going to sign off for the day. This has been a ton of fun. Let's see if I can find one more question. It is a fun chat, Tanika. I really have fun every single week here. Okay, Nisha has the postcard in her fridge. That's wonderful. Thank you, Nisha. Let's see, where else? Oh, question, here we are. Okay, I'm having trouble. This is from Lori. For some reason, I cannot read the chat today. My screen just went really dim. I'm having a hard time finding transplants for my fall garden. None of the garden centers or the big box stores have vegetables. Are you starting everything from seed? Okay, I totally hear you. I actually went out a few weeks ago to look for a transplant at a garden center, and there is hardly anything left. I think most people don't realize, and that's why I'm trying to get the word out there, is that you can grow vegetables all the time. Even in the wintertime, you could grow a few things inside. But you know what? I totally encourage you. You're not going to find a lot at the garden centers. I totally encourage you to start from seed. It's really easy, and all the instruction is right here on our channel on how to do that. So grab yourself some seeds. You can head to my website, grab some seeds. Everything that you need is there. Get it started. Even if you've never done it before, I really want to encourage you, even if you just start with one thing like a pack of lettuce. I have a lettuce seed collection too, and start some lettuce, and you will be amazed at how easy it really is. Plus, you're going to save a ton of money, and you're going to get a ton more variety than you'll find at the garden center. So yeah, very difficult right now this time of the year to find plants. Okay, guys, I am actually going to sign off for today. I'm losing my voice and I've got to go up and I've got to go inside and fill the seed orders. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be live streaming again next Monday at noon Pacific time. If you missed any of the live stream today, go back and watch the replay. So thank you guys so much for being here. It's so much fun to hang out with you, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.